lady who is guilty
Yeah, totally
for
guilty.
you being here after enjoying the sunshine. And then
Yeah.
you can do whatever you like with her.
She took us away.
Elena, you're on.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. I feel really privileged and honored to be here and to be talking among so amazingly good scholars. And I'm really happy that everyone who is here could make it here, could come and could present such good presentations. Mine will be short, and I will try to make it as good as possible, but I still have very long way to come to reach your level if I will ever do that. On the other hand, I'm really happy to have my students here, our students here, who are, as Professor Miskūnas told, instead of sitting on the sun, having this seminar here. And really, I'm happy because when we were having lectures, propaganda was one of the issues we discussed, and it's nice to see some people who were even doing presentations on that, and we had good discussions about that. So I hope this seminar will serve you as an inspiration, and hopefully the things you will learn here you can use in your future. Shortly, I will say my presentation is going to talk about media art as tool of propaganda in contemporary Lithuania. Actually, it lacks, the title should be longer, but I didn't want to talk to make it as long. It didn't actually fit here. that long wouldn't fit here. So, I mean media art or mixed media art or new media art, put the way you want it, but things from installations to site-specific art, and it doesn't include things like art forms like film or theater or things like that. And why I wanted to talk on this question is because for me it was very important, and I found it very fruitful to look for the ways how contemporary visual art can be or cannot be used as tool of propaganda in our state, in our particular state, because it's very hard to talk about the whole world or other countries. There were a lot of things already told about the images and their use of propaganda, and that's for example, the picture in the middle was already discussed, but here are some other examples. And so when we talk about typical image of propaganda, typical visual art style concerning propaganda, that would be realism, and of course posters. It's the most common art form which was used for propagandic purposes. So these posters come from different countries. The first one is British, American, already discussed, and Soviet Russia, from different artists. I will not read names, it's not so important, but as you can see, the representation is the pose is the same, the representation is realistic. It's just this is the first image which was created in 1914, and so these are later ones. And just you can note the combination between the image and the text and how the image changes. This guy is pointing directly at you, and he actually says that your country needs you. This guy tells that he needs you, this Uncle Sam, this mythical guy, and this guy already, note please that the eye level gets really high, and he's already more of a god, but not someone like this staring directly at your eyes. He suddenly raises to become the god. And the irony of this text for me is, do you sign in for a volunteer? Means volunteer, it means that you have to sign in voluntarily, you have to want to do this, but this guy demands you to be a volunteer. So, but basically, I just wanted to show you these posters to keep in consideration that traditionally the style used for propaganda purposes in visual art is always realistic. Though the using also you can see that sometimes even if the style is realistic, the message might be really difficult to understand. Why? Because the image, the message we want to say is a little bit too complicated for a viewer, especially if he don't know the context. So it's from the period of the Cold War, when the Soviets wanted to show how bad Americans are, and what is this happening here is that the woman is trying to buy a milk, and obviously she doesn't have enough of money. But what he says that for them, you can imagine for Americans, the luxury is just for the rich people. You know, that guy with the cigar who obviously can afford to buy milk, but I wonder if he needs it. And this woman cannot, but well, sorry, milk is not a luxury, it's an everyday product. So actually the message is confusing. So even though the typical style in visual art for propaganda was realistic, there were a lot of attempts in the history to have some sort of more modern or more maybe avant-garde approach sometimes, and this one of the really amazing examples. I don't know if Joe meant this one, but it's from L. Lisitsky, 1920. And as you can see, this picture in fact is abstract, and it doesn't show any person, doesn't embody any person, just maybe the whole process of, you know, fighting whites. Whites means this in Russian the Reds, you know, all the story were fighting white army, red Bolshevik army fighting white army, and this image shows how that the Red Army will win. But if you don't know the context, it's really hard to understand. So this is the attempt to put constructivistic approach to that. And it was not an isolated case in this period of Russia to use more modern approach for the visual art, more avant-garde approach. For example, this is one of the windows of Rosta created by Vladimir Mayakovsky, famous poet. And the Rosta windows was especially a certain branch of propaganda, let's say, style, which was created by a certain agency. And also their imagery used was quite simplistic in shapes, really modernistic, and their messages were supposed to be clear for people to understand. But even though the shapes used are really simple, sometimes again the message goes too complicated. So of course no wonder all these modernistic approaches were soon not only abandoned but even forbidden in Soviet Union, and not only propaganda posters were created in certain realistic forms, as you can see, but even there was a big regulation on art in general, how it should be, how it should represent the person, and if you don't represent right way, you go directly to Siberia to feed ice bears. And so this poster, in my view, just shows directly what happened to more contemporary art forms while they are used in propaganda. So when we talk about Lithuania, certain propagandic imaginary is not accidental case. Here, for example, we have two works by famous artists, sculpturist from first half of century, who is called Petras Rimša, and those both images talk about the same topic. They are both dedicated for the same topic. Maybe the guests don't know, but Lithuanian capital Vilnius in between wars was occupied by Polish people. And so first image is the medal which was coined, which was created by this artist to mark the commemoration of Vilnius town. And as you can see, it has the Grand Duke, Gediminas, establisher of the town, everything fine, nice, not too realistic, but nice image. And as you can see, also the site of Vilnius. And this is the poster, a special propaganda poster created for the same reason. And in this case, it's not really a nice poster because its message is that, as you can see, this guy here is Polish pig, and let's free Vilnius from Polish pigs. And they, well, you know, also that the message is really obvious, and the style he uses is really realistic. And after Lithuania got its independence back, different art forms were used in order to send some messages. Of course, after post-Soviet, this big propaganda issue about how you should create an artwork, how it should be viewed, which colors to use, and how the person should look. Now, the shapes and forms became more free, and when state was ordering certain artworks to be created, they somehow didn't press them to be really, you know, classical or realistic. But as you can see, this, for example, statue of King Mindaugas, which I don't know, maybe we will have chance to see today, was created in quite classical style, and you know, because usually to raise such sculpture like it's big competition, and so the artist has to prove that he's the best among many other artists. So this model was chosen to be the right one. And one can say that it's the choice of the public, the choice of the committee which chose this work. It represents their opinion. So other image I decided to show you is the monument to the basketball. We were discussing already with some of you that the basketball, it has sort of the cult in Lithuania, and so this image should represent, this sculpture was created in order to represent national pride for every Lithuanian, to be proud about them, and to think and to spread the name of Lithuania abroad, and blah blah blah. I don't know if it tells anything for foreigners. I suppose only Lithuanians are so euphoric about it. So, but these were the classical forms, and let's look about new media or mixed media artworks, which are representing, which have certain propagandic message. So this is the image from the Artūras Raila big artwork, which is called Žemės galia, or Power of Earth. It's a multimedia installation. It's created of a lot of pictures, pictures, and also it contains a live performance. And basically these images are of certain religious group, they call themselves pagan, performing their rituals, and the artist was just traveling with these guys and taking pictures. And so originally he intended just to create this artwork to research the power of Earth, because these pagan guys think that they know, probably, who knows, maybe they know where the biggest energy of power lays, and so they pray there and stuff like that. And so he just pictured these images and made an exhibition there, but it got so popular that it was recreated in few other places, and it was also sent to represent Lithuania. It was also published in many volumes, in many magazines or books, where Lithuania was trying to present it for the people from abroad, to show how beautiful we are, and so on. Another new media art, which is also was chosen the same from government officials to represent Lithuania abroad, is by Ugnius Gelguda, and it's called Žalgiris. It's a huge installation consisting of the image you can see here. Its size is like starts from the beginning of the room and ends like, say, at this door. And it contains also the sound, which imitates the sound of the battle. For Lithuanians, this name, Žalgiris, is of one of the most famous battles in 15th century, sorry, not 1950s. And this image also became, as I told you, already popular, and it was shown in several foreign countries to represent Lithuania, and it got also state award in. But the question lies: does these people, the foreigners who are watching this image, do they catch any idea? What kind of idea they are catching? And finally, this is one of the recent works. In this case, to compare with other few works I showed, other new media artworks I showed, in this case, this work was especially created to represent Lithuania. It's received state support, and from the beginning it was like state supported. As you can see, this is, it's called Hymnos, and this is a big installation which consists of this, let's say, some round shape, I don't know how to call it, and around,
Cylinder.
let's say cylinder, I don't know, just this cylinder shape. And this is the woven pattern. It's woven with Lithuanian authentic material, and it represents the spectrogram of Lithuanian national anthem. And also it consists from laser here, which when the Lithuanian national anthem is growing, shows on the spectrum where, at which moment of the song we are now. And so, as you can see, this is again a very contemporary and very new media used to create this artwork, and it toured intensively in Lithuania for Lithuanian people to watch it, but also it was representing Lithuania in, for example, European Parliament, in some other official events. So the question raises. The question raises: how does the people who are supposed to watch this installation, if they don't know Lithuanian anthem, how do they get the context and what do they understand in this? So to explain the position of the official politics who are in charge of selecting artworks to present Lithuania, I found one document and I just want to briefly quote you. As I told already to some of our guests, this year Lithuania is hosting the European Parliament in Lithuanian National Gallery, and they are selecting certain artworks to show to represent Lithuania, and this is one of the works who is going to be shown to represent Lithuania. And the requirements to become such artwork were that they should be suitable for this event. They should be professional art piece, not some amateur artwork, and it has to send the message of or connect with words contemporary, creative, cozy Lithuania. The question is, does that artwork sends this kind of message? So I want to finish with saying that of course, on one hand, it's really wonderful that our government officials are not afraid of contemporary art forms to use to send certain propaganda messages, but or at least certain messages. But it's really good contemporary art form. I'm always for it. But the question is are they really receiving the target? Is the message really received the way we want it to be received? So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward for a nice discussion.